Portcullis House is the parliamentary office building just across the road from the Palace of Westminster. Its atrium is home to a coffee bar, a restaurant and a post office. And for this week only, something rather different.
I'm Charlie Bethel, I'm Chief Executive of the UK Men's Sheds Association, and we're standing in the centre of the atrium at Portcullis House, where before us we have a men's shed. The shed is a symbolic piece, but it's also a practical piece where men come to make things and at the same time to reduce loneliness, reduce depression, anxiety, and it saves lives. It reduces suicide as well.
The men's sheds movement began in Australia as a way to help men who were isolated. There are now 1,100 men's sheds across the UK, and nearly 33,000 shedders, as they're known, take part in activities every week. The idea is to improve health and well-being by tackling loneliness and encouraging people to come together.
The analogy we use is if you put 12 men in a room and ask them to talk about their feelings, 6 will leave and the other 6 will try to find the corners. And being men, we can't work out 4 goes into 6. However, if you put a lawnmower in the middle of the room and say fix it, after 2 hours those men will know each other intimately. They'll know what ails them, how they take their tea and their coffee, their children's names, their grandchildren's names. You might get a fixed lawnmower, you'll definitely get screws and bolts left over. But it's by working together and shoulder to shoulder, men talk. And men will start with about the weather, and then as their relationships grow, they might talk about what worries them and what ails them.
And he gave me an example of what a chat in a shed can lead to.
There's one shed recently got one of their guys to go and get a prostate check. The amusing thing is, or not amusing, is they made him go to the doctors to get the prostate check. He came out with a prescription for something completely different, and he went in and what happened? Well, it was a woman doctor. But they got him to go back, obviously, and learn from the lessons.
At the front of the Portcullis House shed was a workbench where MPs, ministers and senior civil servants could try their hand at some woodwork with the help of Tim Tempest, the chairman of the Tunbridge Wells shed, which has been running since 2015.
We were given a plot of land behind a community centre, and they said, if you want to clear the community garden and build a shed, get on with it, which we did. And it was small pickings at first, but then it became a bit like a honeypot. And we have 35 registered members now. We meet 2 afternoons a week, and we get 8 to 12 people. And we do a lot of work with Tunbridge Wells Borough Council. They recently built a new cultural centre in the town, and we had the commission to make all the planters for the courtyard. And we also are now just taking on the commission to repair park benches. So that's incidental to our rationale. It's all about men talking to each other.
A steady stream of politicians pitched up, keen for a photo in front of the shed. I asked him what he was doing at the bench when he wasn't engaged in a bit of lobbying.
In here we have a piece of wood about 15 inches long in old money, and we've been whittling and making Harry Potter wands.
Working alongside him was Alan Clark, the founder of the Lion's Den shed in Keighley in West Yorkshire.
I do woodwork, I teach woodwork, but we embrace everything in the shed. In our shed we've got singing, we've got model making, railway modelling, woodwork, metalwork, glasswork, even repairing bicycles. So every shed is different. Every shed is organic.
He'd been impressed by the reaction of the MPs he'd met.
I thought it was going to be a case of walking past going, oh yeah. But they've all come, they've all took part, they're all doing a bit of whittling. They've asked the right sort of questions. They've asked questions such as how many sheds are in my constituency. I know that one. I don't know that one. I'll have to go and visit them. Some have come and said, I don't have any. So we're starting to look at how we can help them start a public meeting and look at how we can assist them in starting some sheds.
One of the aims of the Australian Shed Association was to improve mental health and prevent suicide. The UK Men's Shed Association, along with campaigners from the Men's Health Forum, are calling for a men's health strategy to tackle issues like life expectancy. Charlie Bethel again.
The government is making strides towards a men's health strategy, which is absolutely fantastic. And there is a need for a men's health strategy because the way men react or interact with medical services is very different for a number of reasons, but also suicide. Every 3 suicides of 4 are a man. And it's the biggest single killer of men under the age of 50. So it's a real challenge. So we want to highlight that, and that's why we're men's sheds, even though women go to many of the sheds. but also to engage so we can change policies, but also give greater recognition to sheds, because we want to be like the WI. Now the WI might be Jam in Jerusalem, we're bird boxes and tea.
The Sheds in Parliament event was designed to grab the attention and win the support of MPs from all parties. No doubt a few politicians were surprised to see a shed pop up in Portcullis House. But it turns out the politicos were able to deliver a few surprises of their own, as Alan Clark explains.
There were two ladies carving, and they were both carving, and apparently they're best of friends. But one's Labour and one's Conservative. And it was lovely, because we don't see that in the public. We see the House of Commons on the news, but it was lovely to see two ladies carving away, chatting away, and they are good friends.
Alan Clark. Plans to overturn the expansion of clean air zones in London